In the 2020s, a pandemic crippled the world. Some panicked, some denied it. These two guys stayed home, drank, and watched movies. These are the Jaymeson tapes.
So there is a new streaming service that's free with ads
Uh-huh.
called Found.
Oh no, is it a found footage streaming service?
It is a found footage streaming service.
Oh, oh, my heart. Oh no.
So what I and they are releasing a new movie every day in October. A new movie is going on their found footage streaming service.
I am impressed.
So I have to ask, hey Abysme, is this our in? Is
Might be.
is this how we're gonna get our movie somewhere?
I mean, we just take a 6-month sabbatical. We film it. We submit it. Maybe.
I Given the movie we just watched, 6 months is maybe a lot of time.
Well, understand that 5 of those months is talking in like marketing deals and advertisement, because
Right.
that's what movies are mostly these days. They're not actually filming. But yeah.
Anyway, hey everybody. It's Alan, and I'm here with Abysme, and
Hello.
we just watched a movie. It's been a little bit.
It has been a
Um,
bit.
we've both been busy boys, but I'm currently dieting, so I've been drinking High Noon vodka seltzers. They're 100 calories a can.
Mm.
What you been sipping on?
I have acquired for myself something from North Coast Brewing, which is one of my favorite breweries. It is called Laguna Baja. So it's a Mexican style dark lager. And my original idea was to make a Boilermaker, but Peruvian.
Ooh,
And I couldn't find, unfortunately, Peruvian beer, which does exist, but it is kind of hard to come by stateside, unfortunately. So I was like, what looks good? What's refrigerated? Oh, North Coast. Yeah, I'll do that. This beer is very dark, and if I do a Boilermaker, I might die. So instead, I am just going to take a shot of Pisco, authentic Peruvian Pisco, which, for those of you that don't know, is akin to a brandy, essentially, but made from Peruvian grapes. And I'm just going to chase that with my beer. So, fuck me. What's cheers in Peruvian? Which I guess is just Spanish.
salud.
Salud, you're right. Salud. Oh, okay, cool. There we go.
Now we have to talk about the movie we just watched.
This is a rare but very welcome happenstance where we get to simultaneously shit all over a movie and also praise it at the same time.
Yeah. I feel like in being true to the film we just watched, we should talk about nothing for 45 minutes
Oh hell yeah.
and then talk about the film.
Yeah. No, what has been going on? Linkin Park was releasing
Yeah,
new music.
yeah. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, no. Like I stopped listening to Linkin Park actively after album 3, but I never stopped respecting them. And as a musician myself, like no one wants to repeat themselves. So even though they changed styles, I was like, you know what, you do you guys. That sounds pretty cool. And the newest stuff, it's perfectly fine. No problems with it. You saw Clutch.
I did see Clutch,
That
but
that looked baller, dude.
it was fucking great. They played the entirety of Blast Tyrant,
Mm,
which is my favorite of the Clutch albums. Then they played a couple tracks off their newest album. They did Skeletons on Mars, and Neil busted out the theremin and played the theremin live.
that is so fucking cool.
It was dope. And they're on a tour with a band, and they're alternating essentially being co-headliners. So,
Whoa, which band?
um, Rival Sons.
I haven't heard of them.
I had not heard of them either, but They went on after Clutch, and I basically sat down and chilled and watched their set, and they were good.
Cool.
I completely missed the opener on purpose because it was Black Stone Cherry.
Ah. Eh.
But that show was good. My birthday was pretty recently, and I was taken to a VR bar by my friends, and we played games where we shot up zombies. And there was one cool game that was like a cyberpunk wizard game
Okay.
where like you go in with like 4 different spells, and like
Okay.
you have to before you can fire the spells from your hands, you have to like trace a symbol with your hands, like do a certain
Okay.
hand gesture to like bring that spell up. And that was really fun. It was while a Chiefs game was happening, so the bar staff kept accidentally bringing us drinks we didn't order, and then when we said we didn't order them, they were just like, "Oh, okay, have them."
Whatever.
Uh,
They're poured. I mean, like, they're done.
I it one thing I hear about people drinking a lot during these modern times, I am old now, is green tea shots. And I had green tea shots for the first time because they were supposed to go to another table, and a bunch got dropped off at our table.
Okay,
And
I'm a fellow old. What the fuck is a green tea shot?
I don't know. Um, Equal parts Irish whiskey, peach schnapps, and sour mix that's finished off with a splash of citrus soda.
Oh, that's doable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they dropped off 4 of those at our table, and there were 3 of us, so I drank 2 of them.
Are we just alcoholics or old? Because back in my day, which was 10 years ago, when you do shots, you just do like Sambuca or Jack Daniels.
It might be both.
Okay, whatever, whatever.
They also like brought us an extra picture of Boulevard Wheat that we didn't order, and
Ooh,
that
nice,
works for me. Um,
nice.
anyway,
Oh,
what
wait, no,
else?
I did have one question. So because I've never seen Clutch live, much to my chagrin, but when they played Cypress Grove, did they just like let the whole like the house just sing the opening?
The crowd was singing. He did kind of let the crowd sing the in the back of a jacked up Ford part.
Mm, okay, okay,
um, the other songs they played that weren't on Blast Tyrant is they played Big News 1,
okay.
and instead of transferring that into Big News 2, it transferred into DC Sound Attack.
Oh, okay. We're gonna have to put a timestamp in the comments or the
For when we
description.
actually talk about the movie.
Y'all know what you're getting into with this fucking show, but we'll do that for you.
It is in tribute to the movie that we're going to talk about other bullshit before we get to the film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, beat Mass Effect 3.
And man, Mass Effect. Like Mass Effect 3 is not a bad game. Because the ending is controversial does not make that a bad game.
I think the journey is more important than the destination.
100%.
And I also think how the fuck do you end that?
I've noticed like and I think Mass Effect at least for our generation has done a lot of tone setting and bar setting of you're going to make a story that spans an entire galaxy. This is kind of just all the tropes you're going to run into. There's so many movies and games and other things that just keep like if the scope of your narrative is galaxy spanning, it just keeps like running into these problems. A lot of the media I've been enjoying personally is a lot smaller scale because even though it's technically the same, we've been telling the same 10 stories for our entire existence as humanity. But
Right.
like if it's smaller, you can kind of relate better to characters. It feels fresher. You feels like you're approaching it from a different perspective. When you like Dune and the Foundation trilogy and Star Trek and Mass Effect and all this stuff, it all kind of feels a little bit similar because how when you go that big, you're kind of just telling the same thing. You can only run into so many possibilities. So I don't hold that against Mass Effect 3. How do you end that? Not satisfactorily. You really can't.
And
But
I thought the ending was fine.
it's fine. Yeah.
And
What are you gonna
I
do?
chose spoilers for Mass Effect 3, everybody. I chose the synthesis ending because
Why
if
not?
if the good option was considered to be like all the Reapers are destroyed, but also all AI and synthetic life forms. I just spent a really long time brokering a peace deal between the fucking Quarians and the Geth,
Right.
and like my girlfriend's Tali in the game and in real life. And like that we just got into this whole thing about like the fucking Geth are like uploading their AI into our suits, and we're going to be able to get out of our suits and adjust to like the real world. It with and I was like, I'm not taking that away.
No.
Also I want Seth Green to fuck that robot. And
I wonder a lot about the development of 3 because as you've elucidated here, they're building up so many conflicting emotions and potentials, and then they have to end it. Like, how do you do that? You can't satisfactorily. You really can't. And one of the things I love about Mass Effect is just how Star Trek it is about
yeah,
let's listen to everybody. Let's listen to all these perspectives. Let's get you invested if you are an open minded person to hearing these things. It's there if you want it. Also, who do you want to annihilate genocidally with the ending of your story? You can't do both, like
I
whatever.
I said it multiple times while I was streaming the ending of the game. If I had known this was going to end up, and I now that I've beaten all 3, I can say this without a doubt. If I had known this was going to end up being my favorite video game series of all time, I
Mhm.
probably would have made Shimp's face less dumb. Because
It's
I came back to the game after a break and I was just like, oh, right.
and I don't know what my favorite video game series of all time is. That's hard for me to say, but I will say that Mass Effect 2 is definitely in my top 3. Like hands down one of my favorite games of all time, and I will play the shit out of that game. I will play the shit out of Mining Simulator 3000. I don't care. Like it's just a good game. It's just one of the most perfect games I've ever played in my life.
And if
And
everyone's if
this is
everyone's
coming from a person who was very, very angry that I could not have my sorry waifu with me the entire time. Like, was
yeah,
very angry about that. But then after a while, was like, you know what? It makes sense, and I hate that it's right.
I'm upset I couldn't be with Tali from the beginning. And
Yeah,
there's a moment in the third game where you and can't brain right now.
I know, right?
Fuck. What's her name? The Asari. Mass Effect.
Oh, I can't remember. I also would have said it.
Wow.
I'm a little drunk.
Favorite. My favorite franchise. My favorite video game series. Everybody.
We've been drinking, okay? But the
Liara.
funny thing is,
Jesus.
Liara, god damn it, Liara to Sony.
I just did one of those things where like the act of typing to Google it like shamed my brain into remembering.
And this is the fucked up thing is I remembered Samara's name before Tali's. Liara. God fuck. Anyway,
Anyway,
because
the fact that you can't be with Tali throughout all 3 games made me have a moment while I was streaming the third one where Liara the moment where like Liara grabs your hand and you like see the whole universe and have this moment
Mhm,
together and she like leans her head on your shoulder. I just
yeah.
had a moment like, all right, we fucked that one time.
I remember like the first time I played Mass Effect 2, because you can choose Samara or what's her face, her daughter. Morinth? I think it's Morinth. I forget. But anyway,
That sounds right.
yeah. The second I picked up Samara, and she's like this fucking femdom paladin, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna be all right for a bit. Because goddamn.
There was a thread on the Mass Effect Reddit about like the one character you regret not being able to like have a romance with that they never put in
Hmm.
the game. And I never comment on anything on Reddit,
Sure.
but Alan had to jump in and tell everyone like kind of into Dr. Chakwas.
Oh, right, right. Chakwas is refined, intelligent, graceful. Mm, yes, no, absolutely. Welcome to the Jaymeson tapes. We're discussing kinks today.
Fun fact about Dr. Chakwas. She's the ship's sawbones, essentially, and her name is the word hacksaw rearranged.
I never thought to reverse her name. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Huh.
Uh,
Damn.
and I guess the last point I'll hit on here is I guess I can officially call Mass Effect my favorite series of all time because, hey, guess what, everybody? I'm almost 20 hours into Mass Effect Andromeda, and it's fine.
Have they like
They patched the shit out of it.
I was gonna say, have they done a Fallout 76 to it, essentially?
They have patched the living hell out of that game, as far as I understand.
I am man, like, I'm happy because I have friends who play Fallout 76 now. They're like, yeah, no, now that it's a complete game, it's fun. It's fun to play together. And I can totally understand that. It's just, I don't want to support studios who are like, here is a broken mess of an unfinished product that eventually will work. Maybe. Give me $60. Or at this point, like what, 70, 80? Like, that I don't want to reward that behavior. I just want games to be good and for developers to be treated well.
Yeah. One thing I will offer as a counterpoint is Blood 2. Blood 2 is when the studio is like, well, you're done, and we're
Yeah.
shipping it now.
But how old is
Uh,
that game?
Still, as shitty as it is to ship something unfinished, we live in an era where people do get the opportunity to finish their game.
True. Well, I mean, it depends on the studio. Because
Yeah.
unless you're Concord or Goncord, as Lyle Rath said.
Hey everyone, I paid full price for Star Wars Outlaws, and it is not very good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uh,
I've been told there's a bunch of patches incoming to patch the combat and the stealth and everything. And really, the biggest problem with the game is that you have to use stealth so
oh
frequently.
no.
A game that markets itself as Star Wars Outlaws and clearly is taking so many cues from Han Solo. Han Solo runs into rooms and shoots people all
Yeah.
the time.
One of his most famous scenes is running and screaming with a
Yeah.
gun.
If your goal was to make me Han Solo, which I'd play that game, you failed.
I'm like imagine if Splinter Cell was released and the stealth was broken.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't do that. But counterpoint to my own devil's advocate, we also live in a time where like if I wanted to play Fallout 76 today, I could. I could just buy it 2 years after release and it'd be fixed. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, fuck you, whoever canceled that Star Wars 1313 game all
I
those
didn't even
years
hear
ago.
about that.
That's a game that was canceled years ago in when Disney bought everything, and it didn't survive. It was Boba Fett, ascending from the scrappy little kid we saw when we first saw Boba Fett into
Mhm.
him actually becoming a badass.
Ooh, okay. I would have played that. Like that makes sense for a video game.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I mean, that's akin to Blizzard canceling StarCraft Ghost forever ago. Cause goddamn, did I want that to be a reality?
That's even worse because StarCraft Ghost got Duke Nukem forever without even us getting a final game.
I know.
It was in
I know.
development for like 12 years or some shit before they were finally like, yeah, probably not.
Like the amount of good indie FPS is coming out right now. Not that Black Division is ever going to do anything good anymore, but you could release StarCraft Ghost today,
Yeah,
and it would make all the money, all the fucking money.
we watched Frogman.
Yeah, right. What did we do? Oh, what do we? How long? 23 minutes. You know what? We discounted you. We discounted you, audience.
So Frogman is a movie where, as we have hinted at with this bit, nothing happens for 2/3 of the film. I'm going to say 3/4.
Yeah, yeah, definitely 3/4.
And then it just goes horde. Very, very clear. I think even more so than most other found footage movies, very clear inspiration from the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah,
There's some stuff it straight up cribs almost.
Yeah, I was thinking about other found footages that I have watched in recent years that caught my eye. One is I forget the name now, but it was basically about Bigfoot. But and it again very similar to this story's plot of just like my dad got killed by Bigfoot like hunting. I'm going to go out and investigate, and it's a terrible idea. But it actually ends in a pretty satisfying way. And at no point during watching that was I like, "Oh man, that's from the Blair Witch. That's from the Blair Witch." There's good found footages out there that every found footage will live in the shadow of Blair Witch. It's just impossible not to. We can't get past that. This one, however, I feel like it didn't know its own identity for most of the beginning. It didn't know what it was going to be. I couldn't tell if it was cynical or
I feel,
not.
I feel I feel like they got their frog costume, they got their cult robes, they got their magic wand. Yep,
Mhm.
that's a thing that happens in this film, everybody. They got all that shit and they're like, "Okay, we filmed it all. How much was that? 12 minutes.
Fuck.
Fuck."
Yeah, it really does feel like, I want a frog cult dedicated to Frogman. Okay, what else happens? Oh shit. Um,
Frog impregnates women.
yeah, but
Uh
how did they
it
get to the frog cave?
Women give
Um,
birth to a frog baby. They had all of these great ideas that can only happen in like a straight 10 minutes of movie. And then they're like, "Oh right, the rest of the movie."
and the rest of the movie is, and we'll go through this, but it's just like that, and I'm leaking my spider room moment. I just sent Ellen a screenshot.
I forgot. Okay. Oh,
Can you
yeah.
tell we don't have
No,
a babysitter this episode?
there's moments where Abysme and I think we both try and come up with separate spider room moments.
Yes, we do.
But there's also times where there's only one correct answer.
They had to have known how this looked, right? Like I can't tell if this movie is self-aware or not.
Yeah. And okay, let's get into it. So, to our surprise, we discovered that the Loveland Frogman, the Loveland Frog, is an actual cryptid
Mhm.
to the degree that any cryptid can be actual. There is actual folklore behind the Loveland Frog, who is a big bipedal frog. Reading off the Wikipedia, according to various legends, the creature was first sighted by a businessman or a traveling salesman driving along an unnamed road at late at night in 1955.
That is a
Um,
creepypasta if I've ever heard one.
yeah.
An unnamed road.
And this is where we get into the other thing I discovered from the Wikipedia earlier, that in May 2014, the Loveland Frog legend was made into a musical titled Hot Damn, It's the Loveland Frog.
And
Um,
boy howdy do I want to fucking watch that.
Apparently it was only put on stage, which is so unfortunate.
I know.
But we then in this year got Frogman, the film.
Mm-hmm.
It opens with a camcorder from 1999 showing family vacation going like most family vacations tend to. Everyone's arguing. In the middle of the argument, the youngest who is filming on his camcorder gets out of the car. We catch a glimpse of the Frogman in the woods,
Who
and
is the cutest cryptid I think I've
he
ever
is
seen in my life.
the Frogman is adorable.
Love him.
Hashtag adorable Frogman.
I like everyone. And there's people in creative horror that really stan Mothman, but I'm sorry, Frogman is the best, cutest cryptid
He
like that I've ever fucking seen.
he is so cute, which is unfortunate because this is the last time we're gonna see Frogman for a while.
A long
Uh,
time.
a very, very long time. Instead, we focus on Dallas. It cuts to the YouTube channel here. Uh, there's a guy named is it Jimmy Jam?
Jimmy John. Shit, what's his fuck? It's Jimmy something.
He's not listed in the cast.
He is not. It's like Jimmy something. I review footage YouTube channel.
It's a guy with a YouTube channel, and he says the only things we found of Frogman are that kid's 1999 footage of Frogman went viral as evidence of the Frogman, and the only other person who captured it was someone before him in the 70s, I think they said, who
Yeah.
got it on camera. So now we cut to Dallas, who is our protag, who is the grown-up version of the kid who saw Frogman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bum. He's living with his sister and her husband. He's made the decision that he's going to go back to Ohio and find the Frogman.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really, really, really awkward scene. His sister's husband basically telling him that they're about to kick him out because our protagonist is unemployed and has been living there for 2 years.
It's at this point, and I think this is what I simultaneously love and hate about this film, that they reveal that in universe there is a brand of breakfast cereal called Froggy Pebbles. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And
They sure did.
oh boy. Like here's the other thing. We're going to say a lot about this film. A lot of it's going to be negative, but if Alan and I were given, a budget, I'd probably do a lot of these things.
This is probably the movie we'd make.
Yeah, like would I invent a breakfast cereal that is on brand with my cryptid? Yeah. Yeah, I would. And I would do it without any pretense, like this movie did.
And really, we can get most of the negativity out of the way.
I think so.
Just by, man, it's just Dallas talking to his ex-girlfriend about their relationship for a lot of the movie.
Which, if you want, like, I've seen found footages that are vehicles for exploring two people that, like, their relationship needs questioning and they need to discuss it. I've seen that before. It's fine. You can do that. That's not a problem. This movie uses those discussions as filler for 75% of the runtime, and it goes nowhere. I know the movie thinks it goes somewhere, but it doesn't.
Really, the greatest crime here is that in the opening minutes of the film, it shows us the Frogman, and then we do not see the Frogman again for a very, very, very long time.
But when we do, boy, is it worth it.
And I say a very, very, very long time. This movie is like 75 minutes long.
It feels a lot longer, though.
In some parts, it does feel a lot longer.
Like, there is a scene where the cameraman fakes being asleep and is filming a conversation between Dallas and Amy, and it just, like, we were talking over most of it.
Yeah, I think literally while that conversation happened is when I opened up another tab to Google if the Loveland Frog was real.
Yeah. Or was that when you were looking into Frog Lord?
It was one of those two. I am absolutely going to listen to Frog Lord though.
By the way, I think Froglord is credited as the composer for this fucking movie.
Hell yes.
That's awesome.
This movie was released in 2024. In 2020, a musical group was formed called Frog Lord, and they do stoner sludge metal about frogs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real band. They have 2 albums and 5 EPs
That's all I need in my life.
in 4 years.
I assume these are all people in, I think it's like Bristol is where they're from, that just like are near each other and just record in some dude's basement and just release shit, and that's fucking cool.
But yeah, no, everyone go listen to Frog Lord.
Do it.
But again, there is a third wheel on this journey, who is Scotty. Okay, so we have to talk about why Scotty and Amy suck.
Oh,
They have this friend, Dallas. Dallas and Amy hooked up one night, is what we gather after they talk about it.
yeah.
And during that car ride, apparently, I gathered from context clues, Amy essentially got him to agree that their one night stand was a mistake.
Yeah.
And he is actually super into her. And if that sounds uninteresting, it is, everybody. It's what happens for a good chunk of the movie. Dallas is friends with Scotty ever since he's been making like D-list, D-level home movie horror movies, like ever since going viral with Frogman.
Mm-hmm.
And Scotty has been his cameraman. Scotty is a barista. He makes money filming people's weddings. Dallas says, "Hey, Scotty, come to the woods and film Frogman with me." And Scotty says no. And then says, "Hey, are you going to Amy's thing?" Which is, I believe, a going away party because she's going to Los Angeles to try and be an actor. Scotty gets drunk at that party. Because he's drunk, agrees to go with Dallas to Ohio to film a documentary where they try and find the Frogman. And then Amy also agrees to go.
Because why not?
But they both know that their friend, Dallas, believes in the Frogman.
Yes. And Scotty, I can hand wave. Like, you know what? He was drunk. He's a barista. He's got nothing else going on. Fine. Amy is leaving for LA, which she shouldn't do, but she is anyway. And Amy's just like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do one last hurrah with my ex to go to Ohio to film the Frogman. That's a decision that makes no sense.
But I did want to get into that just to talk about how Scotty and Amy are assholes.
Yeah.
Because they go to Ohio, and the whole time, like, Amy comes up with a character she wants to play for this documentary who has like a southern accent, and they're both trying to make bits of this, and it's clear this is something actually important to Dallas, and they're essentially making fun of him the whole time.
Yeah, they're not only are they not taking like their trip seriously, they're not taking him seriously. And we got into this during the that portrays it wrong. We discussed this when we were watching of, hey, if either one of us came up to the other and said, "I believe in this cryptid. I want to go like on a ghost hunt or a cryptid hunt and film it. Do you want to come with me?" We would both say yes. But at no point would either of us be like, "Also, you're a fucking dumbass and I'm going to make fun of you the entire time." Like, even if you're a skeptic, you're there to capture whatever. And Amy and Scotty are just utterly undermining and fucking around the entire time.
The whole time.
But the film keeps portraying fairly Dallas as just this deluded, egocentric guy who, like, he feels, this is what the beginning of the film explains, is that he feels very slighted by the fact that, like, even YouTube channels are saying, "Oh man, the 10-year-old kid who filmed the Frogman, it's all fucking fake." And he feels like it's a personal attack, and it's a stupid thing to feel, but that's the impetus for his character. That's why he's doing this. That I can understand, it's not something I would agree with, but I understand. Scotty and Amy are just like, yeah, we'll tag along and all, isn't this funny? That's You're a bad person if you do that.
Well, I certainly hope at least one of these people gets their comeuppance. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, for a good 75% of the movie, it's just them driving around and then them at a B&B and them interviewing people on the street. And it feels like these are the parts that feel to me like directly cribbing
Yeah.
Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Um,
Interviewing people about the frogman before going to find the frogman in the woods/swamp. Absolutely.
and the funny thing in retrospect is that every single thing everyone says about the Frogman turns out to be true.
Yeah. I will give the film that. Like, they front loaded everything. They're like, yeah, no, fuck it. All of this is true.
All the people who say stuff about Frogman you think are just like, oh, crazy people trying to get on camera. But like one of them says the stuff about the cult living in the caves, uh,
Telekinetic powers.
telekinetic powers, a magic, a fucking magic wand. And one of them says that the Frogman is impregnating our women and gets Frogman
This
fucks.
film, this film, yeah, it says Frogman fucks multiple times. And the tagline officially for this film is the croaks are no hoax. The tagline should be Frogman fucks.
Yeah, Frogman fucks
But
is a solid
yeah.
tag. I just switched tabs and saw the picture again. Anyway,
It might be my favorite image of 2024.
it's really good. So he bought that. He bought that at one of the gimmick stores, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. I don't even think they showed that, but like the second he busted out, I'm like, oh, that's where he got that. Yeah, like it requires no explanation.
Um. Okay. They talk to the lady at the Airbnb who says there's a fucking trail that leads them to Frogman Point, and that's where they'll see the Frogman. They go on the trail to Frogman Point. I'm skipping over a lot of Dallas and Amy talking about their relationship.
Doesn't matter.
They go to Frogman Point and they see the Frogman. And in something I totally fucking called, the Frogman is a dude in a costume they hired basically for tourist purposes.
Mm-hmm. Because they kept
Um,
like front loading. Oh, he's brought a lot of money to the region.
they do stop at a store earlier where they're selling like gummy frogs and gummy flies and stuff like that. And so yeah, the Frogman's a big tourist attraction. People come to try and see the Frogman, and the Frogman is just some dude in a frog costume that Dallas says, I saw the Frogman before you were born, and they look about the same
Yeah,
age.
no. Uh-uh.
Anyway, so they then go back to the B&B, talk to the woman running it who sent them to the woods and called her out on her bullshit for like the whole like fake frogman in the woods. She says something vaguely threatening about like basically you guys need to get out of here now before it's too late. Yada yada yada. They get pulled over by a cop as they're going to visit the guy who took the picture of the frogman. That's the only other sighting of him that there's been. They get pulled over by a cop, Officer Frogman. Is what we decided his name was. But the cop says something fake, also something vaguely threatening to give us all, it's super telegraphed. There's something else going on here, something people aren't talking about.
Yeah.
But they tell him to get out of town. Dallas is like, I will get out of town after we talk to this guy, George. George took the picture of the frogman and something, his granddaughter went missing. I'm yada yadaing a lot to get to the good stuff.
Seriously, yeah.
Dallas says, no, I want to see the frogman. And George gives him a map to the frogman. And he says something to the effect of, well, it won't matter after tonight anyway. Go ahead.
Now that we're talking about it, was George hoping that they would also like just stumble upon the cult thing and like disrupt it?
Really? It seems to me like they fucked everything up.
Yeah. Because George wanted to go in and rescue his granddaughter. Introducing 3 other people seems very risky.
They follow the map. They find a spot out in the woods. They set up camp. Scotty touches some goo on the wall, on a tree. They find some goo. Scotty touches the goo. And then we arrive at the flute.
Oh, well, also, Amy, like, blacked out for an hour.
Oh, yeah. Amy goes into the woods and to get dry firewood is why she left. And while Amy is in the woods, Dallas busts out the frog flute that he apparently bought at one of these tourist traps. And he plays the frog flute.
It's like 10 seconds.
But
it's the best part of the movie.
I'm going to edit this. I'm just going to fucking link this picture in the show notes somehow.
Fucking do it.
Because it's just our protagonist standing alone in the dark woods playing his little flute. And it literally kicks off all of this. This moment literally kicks off everything actually happening in the film. This moment, this picture I'm looking at right now is what
the
gets
inciting incident.
Is Dallas playing his weird little flute.
His frog flute.
It's got a little froggy on it. Sorry to skip ahead, everyone. This is the spider room moment.
It's the most, like, stereotypical bullshit flute music you can imagine in your head. It plays right now. It is perfect.
And you just hear this, like, swelling of croaking noises as all the frogs respond to it.
That is one of my favorite things, because, like, up until now, mostly the film was, like, adhering to, okay, found footage. You shouldn't hear any Foley. You shouldn't hear any background music. All you should hear is just whatever is being filmed. I know, cinema veritas. But at this point, it's just like, nope, we're layering in tons of frog sounds and ribbits and throat singing, and we're just going to fucking pump the background music up. Doesn't goddamn matter after this scene.
Okay, so then Dallas goes to check on Scotty, and they find more goo. Oh, yes, Dallas shows Scotty the frog footprints he finds after he plays the flute. And Scotty is, like, pissed and thinking he's making that up or whatever, and goes off to find Amy. Amy is in a trance. There's more frog goo on the tent. And she snaps out of the trance and doesn't know that she's been gone for like an hour. She thought she had just left. Okay. Right. Then the movie starts.
And then.
Because then the fucking Frogman shows up and shows up hard. He's just fucking popping into shots and being the Frogman. And the Frogman is there. And he barfs gore onto Scotty at one point. And Scotty is freaked the fuck out. All this shit is great. Yeah. All of this shit here is fantastic. They escape to the car, and Dallas is happier than he's ever been in his entire life.
Yeah.
He's like, we got the Frogman on camera.
And you know back. What? It is sickly cathartic.
Yeah.
Because Dallas is, like, smiling. He has not really, like, earnestly, genuinely smiled this entire film until this point. He is covered in mud. Like, all of them have been sleeping outside. They are sleep deprived, and he is besides himself with happiness. Both Scotty and Amy are distressed. They are unhappy. One of them is turning into a frog person. Spoilers. And he's just like, thanks, guys. I'm sorry for all the horrible things I said about you, but thank you for doing what you dumbasses decided to sign up for. And they're both, like, the schadenfreude of them realizing, wow, we thought we were just going to, like, fuck over our friend for an entire like weekend are realizing what they've gotten into.
Yeah, actually feels pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go back to the B&B. Scotty looks in the mirror. He's got pronounced warts growing all over his body. They realize no one's at the Airbnb, just the B&B. It wasn't an
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Whatever.
No one's at the B&B anymore, and they hear a noise coming from somewhere. Abysme and I didn't know if we believed there was going to be a frog cult, but we wanted a frog cult to happen so bad.
So bad.
And after all this build up this movie gave us that we went through for this movie,
Mm-hmm.
it gave us the frog cult, everybody. I am just now realizing that this is very similar to a specific VHS short.
Which one?
The Ratma one.
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of similarities between this and the I think Storm Drain is what that short is called.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sure enough, they do some exploring in the caves underneath the bed and breakfast. An actual plot point of this film. They find the cult doing chanting that includes ribbit in the chanting. And they are offering a bride to the Frogman. And the Frogman emerges to the bride, who is brainwashed just like Amy was previously.
Mm-hmm.
His tongue starts to come out, the big long frog tongue, and it fucking rules.
It's so cool.
And before anything else can happen, George, who is in disguise as one of the cultists, they're all wearing masks, pulls out a fucking gun and starts shooting people.
It's like a fucking like 12 gauge or something. It's very much a shotgun shot.
And in the chaos, that breaks up everything. God, so much happens here that I'm trying to.
I know, like it's purposefully disjointed in its filming and its cinematography, but they break up the ceremony, they run back through the tunnels, they happen upon a bunch of eggs, and they're like, "What is this?" And we're like, "It's eggs. Come on, stop being stupid." But they rip open one of the eggs, and lo and behold, is George's granddaughter,
and
oh my god,
we get the reveal that she is pregnant, and I thought that was just going to be the whole thing. I think we both thought they're not gonna.
Well, there's at a point where I say, like, is she just going to give birth right here? And then starts screaming in pregnancy pains. And again, the curse of the Jaymeson tapes is real. Just gives birth to a frog human creature on the spot.
Yep, right there.
And oh man, like at that point, we realized that this movie is amazing. Yeah. At least in this last quarter of just like, fuck you, you're getting all the frog cult. And I don't remember what they do after that. I think they just leave. I think they're just like, wow, that's fucked up, and then bail because they don't take her with them. Because they meet up with George later, and he's like,
no. This is when they realize Scotty's transformed into a werefrog.
Right.
Because they turn, and Scotty's face has gotten very frog-like, and we also get the reveal that like his like neck puffs out like a frog.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks rad.
Fucking cool.
It is a great monster effect. There are so many other found footage movies where you catch the monster in like glimpses or whatever, and it's like less is more. Oh no, you see the fucking Frogman. You see the shit out of the Frogman. It delivers the Frogman. This movie delivers. You don't think it's going to deliver, and then it absolutely delivers.
There is so much Frogman cult, Frogman fucks in the last quarter of this movie that it's a whiplash. Because everything before then has just been the most like tedious, groan-inducing, like we've seen this before, found footage build up. But god damn, that last quarter.
It's like you've had a very boring meal, and then they cart out dessert, and you're like, oh, what's for dessert? And it's like, it's fucking the bombest bread pudding you've ever had in your life, and also we're doing whippets.
Yeah.
No
Whew.
one actually do whippets.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Kids don't do drugs. Weed's fine. You can
Weed's fine.
smoke pot.
Shrooms is cool. Whatever.
Shrooms are good. Don't
Yeah.
don't huff gases. Don't
No.
inject anything into yourself.
No.
That was a weird tangent. Anyway, we get like the Frogman like about to devour Amy. Like his tongue is wrapped around her. We get weird hallucinatory shit in the woods happens. So much happens. Go watch it.
At this point, I think they realized they couldn't just do the Blair Witch ending with people just staring at a wall. Like they couldn't do that. So they just went, okay, splice in a bunch of previous footage, make it trippy, throw in a bunch of After Effects, and just fill. And you know what? It's fine. Whatever.
The Frogman blasts lightning out of a magic wand. That's a thing that happens in this movie.
It is like at the beginning, the YouTube channel dude's like, is he an alien? Is he a wizard? Who knows? All of it's true.
Yeah.
All of it's true.
It is a cryptid. Gosh, okay. It's kind of a tulpa.
It's everything.
Because, like, I think generally the idea of a tulpa is that, like, you create it with your mind and everything you create about it with your mind becomes true. So literally the whole thing with the Frogman is every single thing anyone says about the Frogman is true about the Frogman.
Frogman is OP and adorable.
So really the only way to defeat the Frogman is to like think like, oh, the Frogman's weakness is fire. And just think that hard enough and then also have fire. Let's skip ahead to the ending. At this point, hey everyone, if you only want to watch the last quarter of Frogman, that's fine.
I wouldn't blame you.
But you should watch the whole movie. I think the setup is what makes the payoff so rewarding. Which
makes it's so conflicting to recommend this movie because I do, but I have to tell I haven't played Death Stranding, but everyone I've ever listened to has said, yes, I know it's 120 hours of nothing, but then after that it gets good. And I understand that no one wants to do that, and I don't blame them. But if you can, do it. That's kind of how I feel about Frogman. It's a lot of nothing. It's a lot of wasted time. But that last quarter is so good.
It's so good. Also, there's an ending.
There is an ending.
So in the midst of all this insanity, Dallas tells Amy, like, hey, our one night stand was more to me than that. I love you.
She's just like, go away.
And Amy's just like, uh-huh. There's a Frogman.
I got psychically controlled by a Frogman.
So George helps them escape the insanity. And tells them where to go to get away from this. And Amy's just crying, and Dallas tries to put a hand on her, and she's just like not fucking having it. And then we get a text epilogue where it's like, no one believes any of Dallas's footage. Scotty is considered to be a missing person, as are George and his granddaughter. Dallas and Amy never spoke again and haven't spoken for a year.
Amy is in LA now.
And the Frogman is still at large. It cuts to this movie presented as a documentary closing out a film festival. And they're calling Dallas out as the director to give a big speech. And this is sort of a post-credit scene where he's just sitting there and not acknowledging them saying his name. And then the credits keep going. And then it comes back from the credits. And he takes out the magic wand. Dallas has the magic wand. And we see it sparkle a little bit. And that's our fucking
true ending.
Frogman will return in Avengers 7. So that was me describing the entire movie.
It's
I left stuff out.
not much.
Watch it though.
Yeah, no, go watch Frogman.
Recommend it.
Yeah,
So
Spider Room moment.
yeah, we kind of locked in our Spider Room moment, but really, the whole last quarter of the movie is a Spider Room moment.
It is, but yeah, no, him with the frog flute.
Yeah,
Like,
frog flute.
and it's also like, I bet you that clip lives somewhere on YouTube because it is just 10 seconds of him playing the frog flute. Like, it's just so perfect. Like, they made that for us.
Yeah, it's the best. So I guess we gotta come up with a cocktail for this bullshit.
Midori is gonna have to be in this drink.
I was gonna say Midori too.
How do you make a drink that is 75% nothing and then 25% business?
My other suggestion was gonna be chartreuse,
Hmm.
which is a little more herbal.
Yeah.
I'd go so far as to make the argument that it's a little swampy tasting in a good way.
You could. Yeah, no, you can make that argument.
So if we were to make,
What about both? Can we do that?
ooh,
It'd be tough,
it
but
would be
hey.
it would be tough. Cocktail with chartreuse. Well, the typical chartreuse cocktail is the last word, and we could make the argument for putting Midori in a last word.
Okay, I searched it, and there is a drink called the Electric Circus. That is gin, Midori, chartreuse, lemon juice, and bitters. That sounds awful, but it does exist because
Um,
that's a lot of botanicals.
yeah, they recommend botanist gin.
Well, yeah, it's a good gin.
I imagine the lemon and the Midori are doing a lot of the heavy lifting in regards to making that palatable.
And it's all equal parts too, is the crazy thing. It's all
Yeah,
like a quarter shot.
that's crazy. Okay, garnish with a gummy frog.
Yes, if you can find one.
Oh, they're absolutely a thing. Yeah, there's a Haribo does gummy frogs.
Okay, perfect.
$1.97 from Walmart.com. What's our spin? What's our other spin gonna be?
Okay, an electric circus with a spin. Because I mean, it's not a clear looking cocktail, but it's rather uniform. What can we do to dirty this up to make it look swampy?
Okay, so I was recently tasked with making a cocktail for a friend who doesn't drink very much, themed to his D&D character who is a half orc who lives in the swamp.
Okay.
And I incorporated naked green juice,
Okay.
which is the swampiest looking possible delicious fluid. And that cocktail turned out really good. Green Machine is what it's called.
Right, right.
So if we wanted to hit this cocktail with some Green Machine and a gummy frog, if you can, okay, wait, we're cooking now. Hold on.
Mhm.
If you can garnish this with mint,
Oh.
but make it like a lily pad and get the gummy frog on top of it, I think that's the Frogman fucks cocktail.
Mhm. If you can achieve this, please send us a photo.
100%.
Frogman fucks. I like it.
Frogman fucks. All right. Well, that was this movie.
Thank you to Sade for the
That
recommendation.
Sade recommended this one, and I get it.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, look out for our next movie on Found. Abysme and I will be making a movie for that platform. It should be out here within the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be about hey Siri, give me a random animal. It's going to be about a wombat man. Wombat man.
Oh,
It's going to be a wombat.
perfect. Absolutely.
Look out for Wombat Man coming to Found here in the very near future. If you like what we do, please go on to our it's been a while. Patreon, the Creative Horror Patreon. That's where you can find some bonus content and help support what we do here, as professional as it is. Hey, you want to go wander around in the woods for a little bit?
Absolutely. I got my camcorder with me.
Dope. All right, let's go.
All right, bye.
Bye.
The Jaymeson Tapes is hosted and created by Alan Cheney and Abysme. If you have a movie suggestion for the podcast, please leave a comment, message us on the Creative Horror Discord, or tweet at Creative Horror with the hashtag Jaymeson Tapes. Creative Horror is a network of creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. Please visit us at creativehorror.com.
Also, I want Seth Green to fuck that robot.